some intangibles that those projections failed to take into consideration.
The crowd was going crazy. There's not much in life that's better than that.
You're listening to Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys with Mark Willard and Joe Shasky on the 95.7 The Game Podcast Network.
Okay, what's going on? It is the next episode of Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys with Joe Shasky. I'm Mark Willard. We are coming to you after yet another sweep at the hands of the San Diego Padres, and I'll give the Giants this. At least they didn't fool us. At least they didn't stretch it out in a series that they needed to sweep. They got swept. All three of them one-run games, and as we reach September 1st, Joe, there is absolutely no doubt what they need to do next, and that is call everybody up. So here we go. It is not a September to remember. It is one that there is no way I saw coming, but it's call up young guys and start evaluating for next year time.
I mean, when you go into a series it's back against the walls, right? Some people say it's not a must win. It felt must win to me. You go Rodon, Webb, Wood. You got to get 2 out of 3 with the season on the line. They go 0 for 3, and it feels very lifeless right now. I mean, it really does. People are pointing the finger at each other. You've seen Brandon Crawford get thrown out of a game. It stinks. And finally, Jock Peterson bat starts to wake up a little, and it feels too little too late right now. And this is a team that's just, I mean, Bart gets hurt with the concussion thing. We're feeling good about Joey Bart, and then he goes on the IL. I feel like this team just can't catch a break right now.
I tell you what, it's led to a conversation that's really fascinating to me that it's happened this quickly. And we'll start with this. I don't necessarily know how to interpret these things. I do know what sounds like the underlying theme is. We all can decide for ourselves. We'll let you hear it. Let's start with Logan Webb as he works his way the other night through the idea of whether or not the Giants have been complacent, whether they're lacking fire. Even he was struggling to put words on it. Here's what he said.
I don't think anybody in this room will tell you that they thought we'd be in this spot at this point, but it's just kind of maybe we got a little too complacent at some point or something, but just not doing little things to win baseball games.
So he goes on to sort of walk back the complacent comment and then states, I think maybe we're just lacking fire. Mm-hmm. And so it's fascinating because who's in charge of being on fire? Who's in charge of your motivation? Did you take that as pointed at Gabe Kapler or pointed at the players themselves?
That felt more like to the players. That's what it felt like to me, and maybe I'm wrong. It does feel like we're trying to turn Kapler into this catch-all scapegoat right now. I think a lot of people are frustrated, and they look at Gabe as the face of letdown, and I don't get it. I don't see the correlation. For me, I'm just shocked that a guy 25 years old who has the equity, he's earned this equity in my opinion, is saying this about the team. Like, this is surprising. Like, honestly, Mark, I did not think this would happen. It felt like such a tight-knit group last year, even throughout some of the losing this year. I didn't expect to hear that from Logan.
The wild thing is, like you talk about Logan, if I asked you, this is a 2-part question, give me the list of Giants who A, are going to be on the team next year, mm-hmm. and B, they're good. Give me the list of names.
I think it's Doval, but primarily it's just Logan Webb. It's just Logan Webb.
It's one or it's 1.5 people long, and he's it.
Right?
So, and by the way, he is a low-key fiery guy. That's an odd sort of description to put together. He doesn't show it a lot, but when he's on the mound, he'll show it. He's a bulldog. And so, in a way, we are looking to you, Logan, to be that guy. And so it felt like maybe he was saying either I don't have the leadership partners in this, or I've tried to get this group going, and maybe I don't feel like I have the equity for it yet. The interesting response came from Gabe, because that's what he kind of suggested, which was that Logan needs to do maybe even more of this. Here's Gabe's response.
My feeling on that is great. Logan is here to express himself and to share frustration and to share disappointment. He's a leader on our team right now, even if he hasn't fully embraced that yet, in part because I think he's been concerned about like maybe stepping on toes from time to time, maybe not feeling quite ready to take on that responsibility. But he is every bit a leader and a huge important piece of our future, with a voice that needs to be heard right now and going forward.
All right, so there's the response. It's almost like, yeah, Logan, not only you're allowed to do that, he almost suggests, dude, you should be doing that more. And you wonder if Logan's not like, okay, but why aren't you doing it also? Like, you just got thrown out for the first time in 4 years a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. I'm all kinds of conflicted on this because Gabe Kapler is technically middle management. And he's also suggested in some other comments, look, we're doing all the things we can do and it's just not working, which some people will translate as to say, boy, you're kind of calling out the players, or are you calling out the front office for not giving you the players? But in the same breath, fans will agree he doesn't have the players. So it's like, would I love Gabe to have a little bit more of an emotional, real response sometimes? Yes, I would. Do I think that's the key to the Giants' future? No, I don't.
No, I'm with you on that one. It felt like to me he was trying to empower Logan Webb. Whether people want to believe that or not, I felt like he was trying to prop up his guy almost in the same way. It's a little different, but Mark Jackson empowering Clay and Steph Curry to keep shooting. Like, yeah, you are the greatest backcourt I've ever seen shooting. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, this is a young guy. He could kind of dance around it. He is the future. He is the team. Right now, he's the ace. He's the best player, hands down, on the San Francisco Giants. Logan Webb is. And I think that there's a vacuum for leadership power right now. When Posey left, there was a void. And this is an opportunity for someone to step in. I just think it's so hard to be a guy who contributes once every 5 days on the field to be that everyday voice. How many teams are led by their pitcher? Like, I know that Timmy was a leader to an extent, but like, it's so rare, isn't it?
Completely, because he's not out there that much.
That's
I mean, look around the league. I can't think of too many teams where you're like, heartbeat of that team. You know, even like, think of the names we're talking about. DeGrom, barely ever healthy.
Exactly.
Max Scherzer, yeah, to a degree, but like, no, not you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is
and not the emotional
through the years? Kershaw through the years,
No.
I mean, he actually was defined by lack of postseason success in many ways. Like, yes, those guys can be a part of it, certainly behind the scenes. But are they the guys that sort of really get the drumbeat going when you take the field? No, because they usually don't take the field.
No.
So your point, the Giants right now are centered around a guy who shows up once every 5 days and another guy who is barely old enough to drink and may show up on a given night if they've got a close lead late.
Yes.
I mean, that's not like, no, you need someone in center field who's like, I'm your dude. You need someone at catcher. You need someone at first base who's like, I'm the guy. And they tried that. They put a captain's hat on Brandon Belt. And now, you know, his career might be over.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. He's got the degenerative knee. The one thing that I keep thinking about is any work setting, right, Mark? Any work setting that you're in, if you don't feel like you've earned the ability to have a voice, the equity that you have to have, it's very difficult to come out and not look like a fraud or not look like someone who's disingenuous. If I'm Jock Peterson, for example, I've been here for like 5 months and yeah, maybe I'm a veteran on this team and I had a good run, but that's not in his ethos, number one. And number two, he's not even playing every single day, right? Like, he's getting pinch hit for and platooned, and I'm not knocking him. I'm saying, I don't know if your role is that you can be this boisterous leader. At least someone like Crawford, like, we know he's got the pedigree. He's obviously been here long enough. He's built up the equity. But then personality type, he's never going to be that guy that's going to scream and yell at everybody.
Look, I mean, the bottom line is this, and it's that when you're winning 107 games, every employee is going to be happy because they're looking at the bosses and they're going, look, I'm not going to upset the apple cart, even if I am bummed that I'm not in the lineup every day. We're winning 107 games. We're in first place. These people know what they're doing. But there's no company in America where you lose more days than you win, where the employees are not going to start questioning leadership. So I don't want to get involved in rumors, but we do hear that things within the Giants clubhouse this year are not as copacetic as they were last year. But maybe that's chicken or the egg. I don't know if that's just simply a product of losing baseball games or if there's actually an issue there. But whether it's from a personality standpoint or a statistical standpoint, the group needs a reboot. It needs a reboot. And that does not, I'm not talking about firing people at the top, because mainly whether we even want to have that conversation, I don't think it's going to happen. But there needs to be a reboot of personalities, a reboot of talent, and a reboot of approach, right? If these guys are going to be if they're going to be so formulaic with their approach, then they need to be formulaic with the review of their approach as well, because everything they've tried this year has gone woefully, woefully wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at their lineup as a whole. Like, just if we're diagnosing certain things, they've got a bunch of redundant parts. They have no right-handed power bat who can hit lefties. Like, it's a massive gaping hole for them right now. And you want to have hope that JD Davis or someone like that could step in and fill the gap for a year or two. I mean, let's be honest, JD Davis, 28. I'm just saying, like, they need a real legitimate bopper, and they've got a bunch of just random parts right now. They're 10.5 out from the Padres. I'm not even talking about the division leader, LA Dodgers. They're 10.5 out from the Pods, Mark. Well, it's really tough right now.
The Diamondbacks have caught them. It's not even, I mean, you can't even really get into the fact that they're 10.5 behind the Padres. They're even with the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks are also 10.5 behind the Padres. So this is no longer a realistic conversation. It's not even part of the conversation, the standings anymore.
Well, the thing that I keep going back to, and you've referenced it over and over, and everybody now coming out the woodworks, last year was a fluke. Last year they hit way over their head. Okay, were they hitting on all cylinders last year? For sure. You get credit for that. Like, everybody has good days and bad days. We don't just throw away the good days. Oh, no, yesterday was a good day, so just throw that one out. Like, I don't know. It drives me nuts. This year, everything has gone wrong. Like, there's no other way to put it. It feels like every little thing has gone wrong. And this goes back to the mantra. I've heard it 1,000 times. Success is a happy family. Losing or not winning is an orphan that's homeless and everyone is pointing the finger at. And that's what it feels like right now. Everything is down.